Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bourbon Over Baseball. You've got Jeff here and Matt here as well. Say hey.
I'm back again.
He's back in a world where Matt is back. We're back. We're talking more about our 2020 Showdown League that we're playing remotely over Tabletop Simulator. We did a draft. We did a breakdown of the first 24 picks, the first two rounds in the draft. So take a look. Definitely go listen to that one. I think it's a great kind of intro to our team breakdowns, which is what we're doing here. And we're going to break it out by division. So we're going to kind of cover four teams, go a little quicker rather than the usual hour and a half rambling session by, all of us combined. So I think we're going to make it a little bit more digestible and really just got to get a feel for what each team was trying to do. Of course, Matt and I can only speak for our own teams, but I think that we had kind of I think we have a good vibe of what everybody was trying to do. And, we were just talking about, I think it'll be eventually, I think we should try to bring on the teams to see kind of what they were trying to do, how it's working, especially if it's during the middle of the season. And it gives you kind of, I think, really one of the most great, one of the best things about these leagues is just seeing how people play Showdown. It's different, and everybody does something differently in a different way, and they win and lose in different ways. No matter how I draft, I'll lose, so that's fine. But everybody else, for the most part, can figure out a way to win or not win. So anyway, so
And
I'd
I
say
think at worst, with us, like looking at these teams, we can make up fake narratives.
right, 100%. Right, I
Yeah.
think that I think we can solidly, like, we'll probably give some just kind of loose grades, which we've always done, which is fun to, people to get mad at us based on the grade they get. And it's always so tough early on just because we don't know where the reference point is. But my team will be an F, and we can just move on from there. But I'm like beating a dead horse on, just how bad my teams usually are. But you know what? It's fine. I love showing. I love watching. I love playing. I could lose every game. Hopefully that I don't go 0-24, but it's still a freaking blast. So, well, we're going to cover, like I said, there's 3 divisions of 4 teams. We're going to cover the first division, which in 2020, in consistency with 2020, is called the Cardboard Cutouts division. I wonder if cardboard cutouts even exist post pandemic world. People are probably just never going to want cardboard cutouts ever again. It's probably going to be a stark reminder of what that year was. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, let's take a look at the first team, which is actually my team. So the Thanos Snappers. So I'll give a quick little, breakdown of what I was trying to do, which is a complete reversal of how I usually draft. So more often than not, I draft pitcher heavy, really pitcher heavy, and then try to get value hitters, and then usually a middle-ish relieving staff or bullpen. I basically just said, and Matt will appreciate this. I basically said F it and just said, you know what? This is a weird set. I'm going to just go weird. I drafted as many great hitters as I could, along with an incredible bullpen. And I drafted maybe the worst, I wouldn't say the worst starters, but I drafted low point starters. I think they're actually pretty good for what the points are, but I am hoping that, I'm hoping they do okay in their few innings and I get my relief staff to come in. So, and actually I'll move this guy down here. I actually had even more relievers than that. So, taking a look here, I think like I said, the most fun part of my team is the hitting. I average out. So I spent 3,630 points out of my 5,000 on my lineup. I had to punt on the catcher. I wish I didn't. Everybody else is pretty great. I love Locastro leading off. It's going to go right into Freddie Freeman, my second hitter. Ozuna, my third. Probably my least favorite pick was Rendon. But I just he was just the best batter available. There was Jason Hayward was available then, and I missed him, and I would have definitely taken him. But I ended up getting Cole Calhoun, who I think is basically my team is Arizona and Atlanta, it seems like. But he's great, and that card rakes. I probably wanted more heavy hitting eights, but my lineup is 10, 11, 10, 10, 9, 8, 8, 7, 5. I feel pretty damn good about that. So I just need to hit home runs. I just need to hit home runs and get on base and get doubles. Like, that is just my strategy. And if that singularly doesn't work out, my team is so screwed. But yeah, the starters, like, you can just see I punted on it. I actually don't I actually don't hate. I one of my original strategies that I abandoned was going a lot of control 2 guys, and that it basically like this Yusai Kikuchi. Hopefully I said that right card. But I love that card for even for 220 feels a little high, but 2 innings, 5 innings, doesn't give up a double. And man, these guys, these 30 and 10 point guys, not the absolute worst. I mean, another Patrick Sandoval is a control 2, goes 4 innings. Not the worst chart. It's just the 20 home runs. So my team, I copied our boy Wind Dancer Pete a bit and started just saying, you know what, I'm gonna get some pitchers that give up home runs. If 20 happens, it happens. I'm hoping I'm hitting home runs too. And I think that the 10 point guys I got, for what they do, if they're bad, they're bad. I spent 10 points on them, right? And I think that was actually part of my main strategy here was I've drafted great pitchers who just get rocked no matter what you do. And my thought was that, and tell me what you think, Matt. I said, like, I want to draft bad starters that if they do bad, that's fine. They're 10 points. But if they do well, then my gosh, I'm getting so much value there for what I did. And they're just exceeding my expectations. And then I hope my batters can make up for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bold strategy that this
bold
team
move, Cotton. So
yeah, that was the first thing I thought of, because it's like Jesse Hahn and Nick Anderson better have a lot of ice at their houses. They're gonna be sore.
And that was the other side of it, is that, I said nope to starting pitching, but relievers, I went insane on relievers. I did not expect to get there's only 2 or 3 tier 0 relievers in the set. I got 2 of them.
You spent Ramirez as much on Jesse Hahn as you did your 4 starters.
That's great. That's so great. Oh my gosh. But I mean, basically they're going to alternate in our rules. They're going to alternate games. I'm basically going to have 2 separate bullpens that show up every other game. I mean, that's truthfully what my strategy is going to be. It's going to be, Hahn, maybe Hahn, Ramirez, and Selman, excuse me, and then Anderson, Parker, and Holden go in the Holden. And I think I can make it work. I mean, nothing will ever go to plan.
I think you could too.
But I'm gonna hope Hahn can go 2 to 3 innings, more time 3. I'm going to hope, Ramirez and Parker can go 2 to 3, or probably 1 to 2, or probably 2 innings. And then Selman and Holder, can also go 2 innings because they're control 4. So my worst reliever is a control 4, and I feel pretty great about that. So I don't know, as a third party, to my team, how do you even grade my team?
I hope you're playing your home games in Colorado. But like it's I don't know, grading the first team is always hard. Like your offense is gonna be fun. Like your offense, that's obviously an A, if not an A plus. Like there's nothing wrong with you. If your offense averages 400 points a player, like you're gonna do some damage, hopefully.
Right.
And then it gets to your pitching, your starters, and it's like, well, it's probably enough for your starting. And then your bullpen's probably about an A. So like, what do you grade that? Like, is that a B?
I mean, I think I made mistakes, truthfully. There was some starting pitching, some even, better than 10 points, but worse than 220 that I think was a huge miss, which we'll get to at some point. I definitely went more on reliever. I got nervous about it was my starting pitching too bad, and I got panicked and went more relievers. I wanted more heavy hitting 8s and heavy hitting 9s. But I just didn't see how the points were going to work, and they weren't really there anymore. So I made mistakes.
Loaded up on high OB. You got the 10s and the 11. I don't have anything over a 9 on my team.
Right, and I've seen the problems with that these guys just get on base and then they never score. And that's
the great part.
I'm worried about. I'm very worried about that. I think that the first 3, Calhoun should be great. Ozuna, Freeman, and LeCastro should be great. I'm worried about Biggio, and I'm worried about Rendon. And like same thing with Castro, he's a single crazy. But you hope the people in front of him get on base, and if Castro can hit a single, that's great.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm hoping. So I don't know. I feel like at least a reference point. I'm B-. I mean, again,
it's a tough call, because it's like if your offense is clicking, good luck. I mean, that's a powerful offense.
Right.
I mean, but if you're rolling low with the pitchers, it's going to be a long day.
But like I've said, if you could have Greg freaking Maddux out there, if you're
Yeah.
rolling ones and twos, it doesn't matter who
Right.
it is. And like, that was kind of, I get that, like the difference between Maddux and, you know, let's say Sandoval or someone is that if you roll a 6, Maddux gets it, but Sandoval doesn't. And that's where it's going to be interesting. But I just like, I guess I've focused more on that, you know, mistake pitch 1, no matter what pitcher you are, the batter's probably getting it. And then they can hit home runs immediately on that. And so like that, to me, that makes starting pitching less valuable. And like you could put anybody out there and it's just basically you're going at the whims of what the dice are. So, but I'm going to see that happen. I mean, I wanted to go, I would have loved looking back probably to go more solidly control 2s that are good. Basically like Kikuchi, you know, kind of more solid control 2s and see how that works. And I kind of am, it's just, they just give up home runs. So it's, and again, this is going to be an interesting test. Really interesting. I probably regret, I love Boyd. I love Boyd. I regret Alex Young that early. You know, I think the IP3, I should have been more worried about that. But again, this is where I'm going to have to set my rotation based on where I think, like, you know, basically I think Alex Young is going to be paired up, no question, with Jesse Hahn, things like that. So I've got to really think about that. So yeah, I'd say
that's the hard part. Like no matter what you do, you have 5,000 points to work with. So everybody's team is going to have weaknesses. It's just you put all your weaknesses in one basket.
Right. I did. So let's say I'm going to do a B- for now. Maybe we always kind of come
I'll,
back.
I'll stick with my B. I'll stick with my B.
I'll be the difference, and I'll flip it down to a B- unless we feel strongly that it's going to change. So, because I think it's too risky for it to be anything better. All right, so let's go to the second team. This is Ducks on the Pond, our buddy Nate. Nate is the man. I don't know how else to put this. He has like kind of become like kind of a part of our crew and really just like talking Showdown. He became Showdown obsessed over the past year. And he became really obsessed with these 2020 cards in a great way. And I think without question, from what I've seen, I don't know everybody how much research they did. I'm almost certain that Nate did the most research on these cards and probably knows them better than honestly most of us, even Matt and Peter and Bob, who helped create these cards. I think Nate just zeroed in and really got to know every single card in this set. I haven't shared it yet, but he has an incredible picture of his setup and its teams and how he was valuing them, and he had color coded, and it's incredible. So I think he had an incredible draft. I think that the research paid off. He's kind of like Matt was saying in our draft breakdown, like Matt here had a strategy and, you know, had players and wanted it to, you know, hopefully those first handful of rounds would go to plan. And I think the same thing happened for Nate here. You know, Cabrian Hayes was his first one. He had Alcantara as his second, and it's a balanced team. It's a very, very balanced team that I think is highly effective and scary in a lot of ways. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, it's interesting to look at. Everybody's gonna love if you come against him with a high speed team, you're gonna love his catcher.
Right.
But yeah, it's very balanced. Like Bobby Dahlbeck, that was one of the guys that I kind of had an eye on because I had a 8 on base mashers type strategy. But it's a fun balanced team. I don't think it's anywhere offensively as good as yours, but he has more pitching, and he still has 2 really good closers too. He went down a tier, but on one of them.
That's the thing that I think is so amazing about. He has 3 10s, right? Like Austin Slater, like his DH leads off, which is awesome because he's faster. He's the fastest guy in his team, but he has 3 10s, 2 9s, which I think that's then 3 8s. His average on base might be better than mine, given it might not be the charts might not be as good. But like, my God. And then like add that in with the fact that he has 2 to 3 pretty good starters, right? Mm-hmm. Definitely 2. And then 2 great relievers and 1 middling and 2 not so great. I think his team is perfectly balanced. I'm not super. I think he's solidly probably not look at the other teams yet. I think he's probably number 1 in our division.
He'll come down to what does your manager do, because he needs to balance his bullpen to where he has guys available, because, and we're going to see this with every team with the low IPs, but his number 2 starter is a 4 IP guy. So you got to find a balance there somewhere.
But like, I think of my team against his, like his on bases are still high. My controls are super low. That's not great, but he has higher control starting pitching, not nothing like spectacular, but higher control. And you know, my guys, like, it might not matter. I don't know. I feel I love his team. I mean, like I said, he did a lot of work to see who he wanted. I know he got a lot of the guys that he wanted, and I don't think he made too many mistakes along the way. I think it was mostly just a change in, you know, strategy or individual things here and there. So I feel solidly that this team is an A. I know we don't have too much to go off right now, but this feels like an A team.
I was gonna say B plus just because it's like 2 steps above yours, but I guess that's kind of where it falls into that area.
Yeah. So then I'd say I'm gonna draft grade. Gonna give him an A. I'll give him an A minus. Yeah, and I think we usually, what we try to do is, like, especially if we see more, we try to kind of go back and regrade them depending on that. And maybe we don't. Who cares? These are cards based on real people, and we're playing them out in a baseball card game simulation. It doesn't matter, but I think it's always fun. You know, because Nate could tank, and then some guy we give a D could be the best team in the league. That hasn't super happened, but we've seen it.
I feel like it happens every time.
Yeah, no, we definitely, I remember when we did 2018, we graded one of these teams as a C minus, and that won the league. And it made everybody angry. So not just the great people. So all right, so going to the second team in here, this is the Oakville Trojans. This is Kyle G, another Cleveland guy, new to the league. And I should say Nate was in our last league, so we actually we did it. It was completely random. No one believes when I say that, but it was. But we had 7 teams returning, and it actually balanced out to 2 teams returning, 3 teams in one division, and then 2. Like, it was kind of balanced in terms of the teams that have already been in the league, and then new teams, which I thought was great. And actually, you know, we had one person drop out. It's a perfect split. It's actually 2 teams from each division are returning and 2 are brand new. So that kind of actually super worked out. So Oakville Trojans, Kyle went, we've talked about this. He went my old strategy, which is get incredible starting pitching. He definitely punted a little bit on the last pick. But I don't, on his last starter, but I don't hate it. But yeah, his 1, 2, 3 is Bauer, Keuchel, Giolito. That's great. You know,
he should be in most of those games.
Yep. I think the one thing, and I was shouting this out to him, and we'll get to his lineup. I'm massively worried about his relief staff, his bullpen. Yeah. It's basically his bullpen is 2 guys. And I think you're going to be surprised that, you know, Keuchel's going to underperform at some point. Giolito definitely is just going to have on and off games. He's not lights out. He's 460. That happens. All right. Tony Arms Jr. He's always my reference point for whatever reason. 450 points, incredible card. Sometimes he blows up, right? And I don't know what you do if he blows up. Do you just give up and go bullpen game ish with Kyle Gibson? But he has a really good lineup, a good balanced lineup. I think it's kind of like probably the more traditional showdown lineup that he's going to have a 10, a 9, a handful of 8s, handful of 7s, and then maybe 1 6. Like, I do like that. It's definitely balanced. And he got good defense as well, but it's really the Achilles heel here is the bullpen without question.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, and that's it. He's going to need it. I mean, like most games that Bauer pitches, he shouldn't need a bullpen. Most games that Keuchel pitches, he should need 1 guy. So that's kind of a hope, I guess.
Right.
But I mean, like Donaldson, I like Donaldson, obviously, because
I like Belt. He's a little overvalued, but he's good.
And
but he got him in round 17, by the way.
Right. And Brandon Belt's a good, like a 10 homer at 18 guy. That's a good player.
Yep.
You know, it's very comparable. It's like Jeff Bagwell, but Jeff Bagwell is a speed A for 70 more points. So it's a fair card, but like he needs a Mike Bordick performance from somebody.
I love that.
That's like, and not like to say that any of them are bad, but like Grossman, Grisham, like they all feel like an average player. you know, and then you got like Reyes and Solak, and Stallings and Arias. If any of those guys can do a Bordick type deal, he'll be, obviously he'll be really good. Like that'll help Donaldson produce better. It'll, help Belt do better, and it'll give if Bauer can pitch and give up 3 runs, he's got a shot at winning. Same with Keuchel, same with Giolito. So it's one of those, like, I feel like he'll be around 500.
Yeah, I feel solidly of that. It's really like I love that, because I think it's like, I look at these cards now. I love the Robbie Grossman pick, and I love the Trent Grisham pick. If one of those guys goes out of their minds, this team could be above 500. Yeah. If they perform average, if every player, like you're saying, performs to their points, I'm not sure he can save the bullpen. But we don't know. And I think you're right. I mean, like I do love a lot of his 7 and 8s. Like a lot of these guys, I look at, I'm like, shit, I wanted these on my team. I think I don't know what his lineup looks like though. I don't know. I mean, Belt probably leads off, but then, Donaldson's a C and slow, at a 9, and then you go into a lot of pretty solid 8s. And I have ran a team with solid 8s and 7s that has done well. But so I like the middle part. I just don't love the 1-2. Like, I mean, even with Belt and Donaldson, I don't know. I just like, it's like, this is the team I would have drafted. So it's funny kind of critiquing it from another angle that it's not mine, but I do like that his lineup is balanced. Starting pitching is great. Relief is really worrisome. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, I kind of feel like this is with me, kind of like, I think if we went head to head, I think we would be splitting, maybe a slight edge to me. I mean, and not being braggy. I'm trying to think of those teams kind of playing against each other. What do you think?
I think the biggest thing would be his starting matching up with your batting. That's what it would all come down to.
Yep. And again, that's where I feel like I feel strong. I feel like my starters can survive against his lineup. Can his starters survive against my hitters? Maybe. It just depends on if ones or twos.
Two definitely can.
Yeah, that's true. It just depends on ones and twos. Bauer could throw three mistake pitches, and my guy throws none, and I'm winning that number 1 game, even with a 220 point starter. I mean, that's again. So I feel like this is a B minus. I feel like that's about where I am. What do you think?
Yeah, that's fair. I would say either a B or B minus, and I wanted to give you a B, so it's about same.
Yeah, so I'll raise them to a B, because I think the team is better. I just I think it's the bullpen. That's going to be the question. If he can survive the bullpen games, and I feel like, as I've played more of these games, you have to have a shutdown guy, which he does. Diego Castillo is great. You need a higher tier guy, which he does in Cisnero, but you need another middle guy that can, like, that if you can throw in a situation, I get that he can throw these guys as control twos, that's fine, and I think they'll be okay. But yeah, I think one of these 10s need to be 100, and that would have made a huge difference. So, I mean, honestly, I would have gone a 10-point starter and gotten a 100-point reliever if I could swap, But the Kyle Gibson pick is good. So anyway, so we'll go with the B on that. I think it's gonna be interesting. Probably trending towards B minus. Maybe I'm a C plus. I don't know. We're very similar to each other. So we're similar teams, probably similar like talent teams, just in different ways. So okay. And last team in our division is the Big Dogs. This is Nick. This is another new player. And he had some fun picks. I love the Soto pick. He went to Tatis in the 3rd round. Davies in 2nd. He went, you can kind of tell, you can see the rounds here. Like he was another very balanced team.
His team is balanced, like very balanced.
The ultimate balanced team.
Yeah, because it's like, he's got a number 1 starter, he has a number 2 starter, and then 3-4. He has like a 1-2 bullpen and then a 3-4 bullpen. Like everything you can see it. He's very well balanced all around. I like that a lot. Actually.
I love his lineup, even though there's some middle guys and stuff, 7 and 8s. I love these cards because a lot of them, look at a lot of them double early, a lot of them single plus early. His starters, Davies, Pineda are great. He went the no doubles. This looks like looks like picks I would have made back in the day. I don't love Cease, but Montgomery for 160 rips. He's a control 3, 4 IP, which is not great, but no double. Like walk at 6. Like like to me, that's the guys I should have been targeting early, and I regret not doing it. And the fact that he was available at 13, like I was messing up, right? That's the stuff where I was like looking back, and man, like his relief staff is doing like kind of what I said, that you need lockdown guys, you need higher tier guys, middle guys, and then it's okay to have some. I mean, he got Rondon super late just to kind of fill the spot. So, this team is. I love this team. I love how we drafted. Like it's this is kind of where I mentioned in our draft breakdown that like some of the new guys drafted like some of the more fun teams. You know, I mentioned that about our Angels in the Trout Field, Lasky's team, and then Nick's Big Dogs. Like, this is a fun team. I think this is a well above average team. So.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of see how his team comes along. You know, I had eyes on Luis Robert as a late round pick, and I'm actually glad that this guy snagged him because it allowed me to upgrade. But Luis Robert was somebody I had my eye on, and I think his team, you know, you're going to see Soto and Tatis do their thing. And it always goes back to if they get their charts. But if Luis Robert starts getting his chart, you could see some explosions. You know, Robinson Cano, if he gets his chart, you know, he's the high pop type of guy.
Right. I think this is not a glaring issue. Like, this is nitpicky, which I think shows you how solid his team is. Probably the biggest issue with this team is that there's a lot of 1 through 6 out guys. And
that's more reflective of this set. There's a lot more 1 through 5s and 1 through 6s because we tried to up the on base is like to have a higher on base. Like, you know, a guy with a 1 through 6 out could be, you know, if he's a 9 out through 6, he could have been a 8 out through 3, but we wanted the higher on bases because comparative to the 2000 set or 2001, no matter what year you look at, on base percent's way down compared to what it used to be because guys are swinging for the fences more. So like it would be, here's a set of there's only 3 10 on bases. Like that's just weird. So we had to up it, but to balance the on base, you had to get more outs.
Yep. I mean,
there's a look behind the curtain.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I think that works out better because I'd rather have more outs on a chart in a more fun chart with a higher on base, especially like in the context of blind drafts. And I mean, it's interesting seeing this draft out. Like, I mean, you're seeing a lot of balanced teams. You're seeing a lot of balanced picks. You're seeing a lot of those on base 7s, and people always used to avoid on base 7s like the plague. And it's now reversed a lot. That on base 7s like are people like them and pick them. And I think this is a great example that this guy has 3 on base 7s that I like a lot. I mean, Arenado always rules. Luis Roberts great. And then like same thing with 8s kind of too. So I think and like to your point, like that's like barely an issue. That's not even, it might not even matter. And I mean,
I think the 6 and the 5 and 6 out guys stand out to you because when you roll that 5 or you roll that 6 at 6 in your mind. But like, I mean, it's the same thing. You have a 10 on base out through 3. He gets his chart and you roll a 1. Like it's the same thing. It just sucks no matter what.
He probably goes Tatis leadoff with Soto number 2.
Yeah, probably. I might hit Soto 1, Tatis 2. Like obviously you want the speed, but like I would almost want guys on base for when Tatis bats.
Yeah, because he's got a way.
That sounds
well, because I think Soto has such a big like you just don't want to like Tatis gets on base and then Soto's walking, and that's very likely because he's like over he's like 40% walks. I'm with you. I think I would probably just get Soto on base and hope Tatis can do some damage even with the speed difference.
The thing that scares me with his team is I don't know who his guy behind them is. Like I would probably say Luis Robert. But like, are you really comfortable hitting a 7 third?
I would probably go Cano and then
I'm assuming it's Cano, but it's like, you know, Cano doesn't really do much. At least Luis like has that.
Yeah, and actually Jurickson Profar is pretty great. He would probably be as one of his 3 or 4. Probably it's probably Luis 5.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh man,
that's the one weakness that I kind of see is I don't know who's knocking in those two. Like, because like you just highlighted Wilson Contreras. Like, look at his chart. I mean,
yeah,
it's
that's so standard Wilson Contreras. I've had him on my teams. He just high
yeah,
on base, just pretty bad chart, but a lot of singles. So yeah, I
yeah,
don't
that's a
know.
tough one. That's if I had to find a weakness with his team, that's it. Is I don't know who's going to knock in Tatis and Soto. And from personal experience in my 01 league team, once you get past those big guys and nobody's knocking them in,
Yeah,
it's hard to
yeah.
score runs.
Um, I like this team. I think Nick did, especially
Yeah.
like it's. I mean, not to say new guys. Like I mean, it's just different. I mean, you're getting a feel for our league and the way the drafts go, and everybody has like, and like I feel like I mean, pretty much all of these new guys. Like I love how they just I feel like they just did their strategy exactly how they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Which like if I was doing, I remember the first time I did these drafts, I feel like I was making every mistake you could and didn't do any of my strategy. So I love Nick's team. I mean, Nick's team is probably one of my favorites in this, in the whole league. Um, I feel like it's close. Him and Nate's are close to each other. I love they're both balanced. I think Nate has more just a little more across all of the hitting, the starting pitching, and the
Mm-hmm.
reliever categories. So I'd probably keep him still at a minus A, but I think Nick is a very solid B plus to me.
If I had to rank them 1 through 4 in this division,
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have Nate 1 and Kyle 2nd.
Really,
I don't know why like that pitching stands out to me. I don't know. Like I think Nate is the like if I had to go division winner Nate right now, I'll take Nate. And I think the other three are all just depends on how the dice is bouncing.
yeah. I mean, which at the end of the day,
Which is good.
everything we're
That's how
talking
it's gonna be.
right, everything we're talking about is at the whims of the dice gods and how it goes. I thought
Yeah.
I thought my team in the NL only league was good, and they weren't. Not because they weren't good, but because the dice hated me. So it's really, I mean, Nate's team could, if he rolls terribly, it doesn't matter. But like,
Right.
if my team rolls incredibly well, like I'm going to outperform. I think that's interesting. That I feel like I definitely agree that Nate's number one in this. Not sure who. I think it's going to be number two. I think I'm probably solidly 4, unless some miracle happens. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the big dogs or the Trojans fighting for that 2 spot, and I
Like
probably lean big dogs.
the thing that stands out to me is like so like big dogs. He's got Kristen Stewart on his bench. When's he ever going to use him?
Yeah, that was like I know towards the end of the draft we were I was trying to help him get some guys, and
Yeah,
I
because
was
like
kind
that's
of
a
like,
speed C, 5 on base, 10 point guy. He literally doesn't. He's not a better fielder than any of his outfielders.
right. I
He's not
don't
fast. He's not going to pinch run for anyone.
know. I think that there might not have been any speed Bs available,
Right, but
so
that's
it
what
was
I'm
just
saying. Like, so what's the point in having him?
no. Yeah, it was just truthfully filling a spot. He had 20 points left. He made his Rondon pick. Because there were no 20-point relievers, and then he had 10
Mm-hmm.
points left and was like, oh, there's a player. So it was really just circumstantial.
Oh, okay.
There's absolutely no use case for that player.
Yeah,
I think he would agree with that. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Well, then I take back what I said.
I think yeah, because he went 19 Rondon and then 20, so he got the 2 extra guys there. So,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. I'm gonna throw him in as a B plus right now. I'm going to raise, or I already put him as a B, and then I put myself as a B minus. So I think that, again, it's tough to get that first
Right.
thing, but I think that's pretty solidly on. So
Yeah, I always look at it like this guy spent an extra 20 points on extra players, which Rondon always helps having extra arms. But like it's just like you brought down the average player of your team by that. So it's just I don't know. This is the way I looked at it.
I can't believe I forgot to bring this up. Got to go back to Nate's team. And I'm good. I told him I was going to bring this up, and I got to find it in my text right here. He was oozing with confidence. His team went exactly how he wanted it to go, and he feels extremely confident about it, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read to him what his exact quote was, and he goes, he said, this was after him and I talked a bit, and he says, none of it matters from one of our last conversations, none of it matters because I'm going 18-6. He predicts Ducks on the Pond. Nate predicts that he is going to go 18-6 in a 24 game season. He actually said that he thought it was a 20 game season. And then he said, I think he said he was going to go 14 or like maybe 16-4, which is such an incredibly ballsy prediction.
Yeah.
So now that I'm saying that on air, Nate 18-6 prediction. I think he's just painting a target on his back for the rest of the league.
Oh yeah.
And I love it. I think Raleigh Fingers Kevin joked yesterday that we need more drama in this league. And we've already kind of had it. But I let's just keep going. Let's just more drama all the time. I wish these cards could talk shit,
So Kyle's team, is that Lasky?
No. Different Kyle.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, that's two. There's now 3 Matts in this league. There's 2
3
Kyles.
Matts,
There's
2 Kyle. Yeah, that's
there's just too many. Like, yeah, come on. Like, what's going on? I'm gonna call your parents and what were they thinking?
They all read the same book.
Right. Kyle G. Kyle G is Kyle here in Cleveland, and then Kyle L is Lasky, who we talk about. That is he's friends with Nate. So yeah, so different Kyles, a lot of Kyles,
Gotcha.
but yeah, Lasky's team is in another division that we'll get to because I can't wait to talk about that team because I think it's a lot of fun. So anyway, all in all, I think solidly it's going to be number 1 Nate in this division. I think the big dogs will be 2. Matt here thinks the Trojans will be 2, and then the vice versa for 3, and then probably I'm 4, which I think is probably right.
I think you're due to bounce back.
I don't think my team will be bad. I just think they'll be a little bit below 500. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, and that's fine. So anyway, all right. Well, appreciate everybody listening. As always, let us know what you think. We'll leave our Twitters in the description. Hit us up there. Follow us. We do pretty much just Showdown all the time. That's or you might see some Legos from me. If Legos a turn off for you, don't follow me. I don't know. And then we'll also, I don't think we mentioned here, but if you want to join our Discord, we talk Showdown, we talk MLB almost every day. I love Discord. I love talking Showdown. It's a perfect place for that. If you feel the same, please join us. So, and if you haven't seen any of the other videos talking about the 2020 set or a 2020 league we're running, I'll probably put them at the end of this video. So take a look at those, or just search on the Bourbon Over Baseball channel. So anyway, thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time. All right.